This morning, we will find out if Quintez Cephas takes the stand today as his sexual assault trial enters its 4th day. And even if your kids aren't one of the thousands competing in the All-City Swim Meet, you might be affected by it. We'll tell you how straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to News 3 Now this morning on this Friday, August 2nd. Our friend Josh taking the Friday off so he can hit the trails. He's out camping.
Yeah, already. Get an early start on the weekend. Picked a great weekend, and whatever you have planned for this weekend, the weather should cooperate as well. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Sun is up this morning. Skies are clear. I feel like a broken record. I think I've said that every morning this week, but I don't think anyone's complaining about that. There is a little bit of fog this morning. It has already lifted in Janesville, but through the Wisconsin River Valley, visibility is still at about 1/4 of a mile. Here's a look at your current temperatures. We're down a degree here in Madison to 55, 54 in Janesville, 56 in the Dells, a little closer to 60 in southwestern Wisconsin. Don't worry though, those temperatures are going to warm quickly today. We're headed to highs in the low to mid 80s, right around 83 degrees, which will be just a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. Let's take a look at those first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll show you what's happening around the area. No major issues just yet here in Madison. Travel's still looking good. I did look around all of southern Wisconsin, and there aren't any accidents to report at this hour. And that's your first alert traffic.
Perfect little start to our Friday, except when that All-City Swim Meet starts, I think the traffic pattern's going to change.
Yeah, kind of the Beltline, Whitney Way, Odana area. Be a little busy there later today.
Fair warning. All right. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Breaking overnight into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, a fire at a 2-story dairy barn in Walworth County is contained this morning, and all of the animals are safe. 18 departments from Illinois and Wisconsin responded to that fire in the town of Sharon. They had to be on scene for 7 hours. The fire itself was contained to the barn within about an hour of it being reported. More than 200,000 gallons of water had to be used to put it out. One firefighter was taken to the hospital for exhaustion, but no other injuries were reported. A major intersection in Whitewater is now back open this morning after a multi-vehicle crash that was first reported around 7:30 last night. Lanes in both directions on Highway 12 at County Road N were closed for hours. This photo from a News 3 Now viewer shows first responders on the scene and debris spread across the road. You can also see a damaged camper there. We are still waiting on more information on any injuries. Swimmers from 13 Madison area outdoor pools will show off their skills during this weekend's All-City Swim Meet. And even if you aren't going to the event, chances are your weekend travel plans will be affected. Mimi Levinson is joining us again this morning from the Westside Swim Club to talk more about the event. Good morning, Mimi.
Thanks. Good morning to you, too.
So we are talking about 2,000 swimmers, 4,000 events. This is all happening at the Westside Swim Club. That is going to have an impact on traffic, right? Talk about that.
Oh, yes, definitely. So what we're asking is, we are one of the only pools, actually we're the only pool that's in a commercial area. So we are tucked away behind the corner of Odana and Whitney Way, which is obviously a very busy intersection. And we have been working with the city traffic engineer and the City Madison Police Department, as well as the DOT, to hopefully change the traffic pattern a little bit and alleviate some of the congestion on the Beltline that we saw the last time we hosted in 2008.
And you actually changed the schedule of this event to help with traffic, is that right?
That's correct. Usually the swim meet is on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And taking into account the lessons that we learned from the last time we hosted, we asked the All-City Swim League board if we could shift the meet to Friday, Saturday, Sunday to try to eliminate some of the hazards with traffic, especially on the second day of the meet, which is the 10 and under group. We didn't really want to have little kids, you know, being potentially placed at risk due to the heavy traffic in the area.
All right, Mimi, we're going to come back and see you at 6:30 to talk a little bit more about this event. But for now, thank you very much. So this morning's meet starts at 8 o'clock. For a full schedule and maps of where you can park if you're going and which areas to avoid if you're not, you can head on over to channel3000.com. 6:04, your time on this Friday. This morning, we will hear whether a former UW football player will take the stand in his own defense. 2 women claim Quintez Cephas sexually assaulted them 1 year ago now. His former roommate and fellow Badger football player, Danny Davis, says the two victims were coherent and were walking fine on their own that night. He said he had a conversation with one of the women, who told him she regretted having sex with Cephas and was worried about what people would think. Davis admitted to taking a picture of the women after a naked Cephas walked out of the room and asked him to. Davis says the sound of the flash woke up one of the women and that she was angry the picture was taken. He says he deleted it and talked to the woman afterward.
Did she say that she was mad at herself for having hooked up with Quintez?
Yes.
Did she say she said, everybody will think I'm a slut?
Yes.
She never said she was upset about, hey, Quintez just raped me. She never said that.
No.
Right?
The defense later asked the judge to dismiss the case, saying there wasn't enough evidence to prove Cephas was guilty of those accusations. That did not happen. News 3 Now will have updates from the court after 8 a.m. to see if Cephas takes the stand. At the state capitol this morning, lawmakers are pushing for Wisconsin health classes to teach students how to prevent teen dating violence. Representative Melissa Sargent is behind a bipartisan measure that would require the state to make a policy on the topic. Schools would be required to use the state's model or to create their own. The Rape Crisis Center here in Madison has educators who go to area schools and teach them their own curriculum. They say they support this proposal.
The problem is because there is no set curriculum from the state, it's all over the board. So we might go into one classroom for 30 minutes once a year, another classroom for a couple of classes in a row, and then some not at all.
Sargent has introduced this bill before. It's even had public hearings, but she says there has been some opposition to the idea of teaching young people about relationships. A Wisconsin father will be in court today facing child neglect charges. Police say a 2-year-old boy was left in a car for 10 hours this weekend in Scoville until his mom found him in the car around noon. The boy had been there since 2 a.m. 22-year-old Zachary Joaquin says it was all an accident. The toddler is back home this morning after he had to be rushed to the hospital and treated for extreme exhaustion. And a first alert traffic note for you on this Friday morning. Starting Monday night, there will be nightly road closures at Highway PD in Fitchburg. PD will be closed at the intersection of Verona Road as crews set up concrete girders for 2 new bridges going up there. Nightly closures will run from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m., Monday through Thursday of next week. The entire Verona Road project, by the way, is expected to wrap up this fall. SSM Health says plans are still developing for an expansion project at its campus on Fish Hatchery Road. Last night, they unveiled concept designs for that project during a meeting at the Madison Labor Temple on Park Street, hoping to get some public feedback. They say these designs will be changing over the next couple of months, and meetings like this are meant to keep the community involved. SSM Health was originally going to build a new facility on Park Street, but that idea has since been scrapped. And as construction continues on the Judge Doyle Square project, the city is trying to decide how many subsidized apartments to include and where they should go. The State Journal reports the city wants to scatter those units throughout the building, including on the top floors with sweeping views of the city, instead of segregating them on 3 floors. But the building's developer says that would likely mean fewer low-cost units at a higher cost to taxpayers. Madison's Finance Committee is set to take up the issue on the 12th. More local news now. A new report is confirming some of Madison residents' fears about significant noise increases around the airport. The U.S. Air Force is considering Truex Field for the home of its F-35 Lightning II jets. They released a draft report identifying some of the potential impacts of bringing those jets to Madison. One of the problems, the noise. It would spread over an additional 1,300 acres, affecting more than 2,000 more people. Ed Bloom lives down the street and says he is not in support of bringing the jets to the middle of the city.
Don't bring them here. That's my thoughts on it. If you want to combat the noise, just don't bring them here.
Meanwhile, Bill Lynch bought his house in 1976 and lives about 5 minutes from Truex Field. He says he doesn't mind the noise and does support bringing the jets to Madison.
The Flyers have been good neighbors and doing what they can to minimize disruption while accomplishing the missions that they have to accomplish.
The 115th Fighter Wing currently flies F-16s out of the base, which will eventually be phased out. The public will have the chance to share their opinions on September 12th. The final decision will be made in February of 2020. There's a new report out this morning that says state prisons are only getting 21 cents to every dollar in funding they request. The State Journal reports the nonpartisan Wisconsin Policy Forum looked at approved funding between 2007 and 2017. They found the Department of Corrections got the least funding of the 7 state agencies that submitted the largest requests. Compare that to the DNR, which got $1 for every dollar requested. Researchers told the State Journal Wisconsin invested a lot of money in their prisons in the 90s, which could be why less money is being given now. Republican state lawmakers are suing the Democratic Attorney General this morning, saying he is not complying with so-called lame duck laws. Those lawmakers argue Josh Kaul is not following the provisions that require him to get permission from lawmakers before he settles lawsuits. It is the first lawsuit related to the lame duck session that's been filed by Republicans. Democrats, meanwhile, have filed 4 others against those laws. Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Vos is accusing a state representative of grandstanding. In a letter sent yesterday, Vos told Representative Jimmy Anderson he cannot approve his requested accommodations arbitrarily. Instead, Vos said he would make a videographer available for meetings that Anderson can't make. He also said he would propose allowing for paper ballots, so Anderson wouldn't have to be present to vote. Representative Anderson tweeted his response, saying that what Vos is offering isn't anywhere close to what he needs. 6:11 your time now. In case you didn't know, the CrossFit Games are in town, and if the workout really isn't your thing, that doesn't mean you can't check out all the excitement surrounding the games. We are breaking down all the options for you to take part in still ahead. Plus, the wonderful weather we've had this week, it's carrying on into the weekend. Take a look at that sunrise, folks. Hattie has more of that in her forecast when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
This
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. Here's the almanac for the day. If you're wondering how we compare to normal temperatures, 83 is the forecast high. Normal high is 81. Sunset now, starting to lose some significant time at the end of the day. We've lost over 20 minutes since the longest day of the year. Sunset's just before 8:20. But boy, we have had a stretch of beautiful weather this week thanks to this large area of high pressure that is just sitting right over the Great Lakes region. You can see plenty of moisture out to the west, but these showers really fall apart as they try to work their way eastward. The air is very dry here through the Great Lakes. Take a look at our dew points. Wausau 57. Here in Madison, we have a dew point of 53 degrees, 58 in Chicago. Dew points definitely climb out to the west, 60s and even low 70s in place through the Central Plains. Moisture has been increasing there. Eventually, that moisture will be allowed to track eastward, but it'll do it gradually through the weekend. Take a live look from the Edgewater Sky Cam, looking out over Lake Mendota. Pretty calm this morning. Clear skies as well. Our visibility is just really confined to the Wisconsin River Valley and low spots. Visibility about a quarter of a mile in Lone Rock and Boscobel. Up in Camp Douglas, had some issues with some on and off fog there. But elsewhere for the region, no issues with fog this morning. Temperatures will climb from the 50s pretty quickly this morning through the 60s into the 70s by lunchtime. Your wind speeds are calm and will stay light through the day. Take a look at your future track forecast model. We put this map into motion and you'll see already by lunchtime 78 in Madison, Juneau, Watertown, close to 80 in the Dells. If you're headed to the water park, beautiful day today. Highs in the low to mid 80s across all of southern Wisconsin. Temperatures stay pretty quiet and calm through the evening hours. It'll be a nice slow cool down at 7 o'clock. Still looking at 80 degrees here in Madison, 80 in the Dells and 80 in many spots. Overnight lows though will fall back into the upper 50s and low 60s. So another pretty comfortable night across southern Wisconsin. Let's take a look at that extended forecast then. We'll show you what's happening over the next couple of days. No major changes to the forecast for the upcoming weekend. Still looking like there's a chance for an isolated chance, that is, for a shower or thunderstorm Saturday afternoon or evening, but Sunday looks dry. Humidity will increase just a little bit Sunday into Monday, but overall those temperatures into next week hold near 80 degrees for highs. Beautiful conditions expected. A look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning. Let's send it over to Josh Tim for all the details. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Another quiet start on the Beltline. Really nothing to slow you down yet in either direction at this point. As we're checking out other roads here in Dane County, just give yourself a few minutes extra on Verona Road approaching the Highway PD intersection from the north end southbound lanes. No delays downtown, but plan on things picking up over the next hour or so. And other main routes heading into Madison area are cruising along at the posted speeds with no crashes or delays. Your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
We are back out here at the Alliant Energy Center yet again to talk about all things CrossFit Games. Now, I know you have heard the hullabaloo around downtown, here on the news, maybe out on Lake Monona at the Fit Barge about the excitement just surrounding the entire games. But maybe you don't necessarily understand the workout. Maybe you're not interested in CrossFit. That does not matter. You can still take part in the excitement that's surrounding this event out at the Alliant Energy Center, thanks to help from Reebok. Joining me this morning is Kristen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
We appreciate you waking up early with us here. So I have to ask you, this is the third year we have been here. The CrossFit Games have been here. What's your impression of Madison so far?
We love Madison. They have embraced us coming in, not only the first year, but even now. I mean, we have thousands of people who are coming out to the Fit Barge throughout the week. But on top of that, my first experience here, it was frigid temperatures, but it still felt like home.
Oh gosh, I love that. Well, we're so glad to have you folks here as well. So for folks who maybe don't understand the CrossFit workout, but are sort of interested, especially with all the excitement at the Alliant Energy Center, there's some options for people to get involved without having to compete, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing about CrossFit is that it's open to any age group and any ability level. You could be just coming out to watch the sport, which is great, and learn about what's going on. There's a huge social aspect here. We've got classes going on all day, so if you've never tried CrossFit, come on out. Like, we're happy to put you through your first class and make you feel comfortable and confident. We also have speakers. There's a ton of shopping to do, so if you love to shop, we definitely have it all under one roof. And this is one of our biggest Reebok stores, probably in the world, that you'll find.
Wow, very cool. And if you're fitness-minded but not necessarily into CrossFit, there are still some more activities taking place here at the Alliant Energy Center.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
I mean, I think one of the biggest ones for us is we bring in other partners that we have. So Ragnar will be here on Saturday afternoon, which will start in Vendor Village and continue out and about. But it's about bringing you and 3 friends together. And you don't have to be an elite runner. It's just having fun and having some social time.
The bottom line here is that you don't have to be competing in the CrossFit Games to really enjoy them, right? And to maybe get inspired by them.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the first time I saw CrossFit, I was intimidated. But then I met the people, and it became less intimidating and just an amazing experience to watch people of all ages that inspired me to want to start the sport myself.
Love that. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
You can find a whole list of vendors, of events, of everything happening out here at the Alliant Energy Center for the Reebok CrossFit Games over on channel3000.com. Stay with us. News 3 Now this morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back, 6:23 on your Friday. Of course, we're keeping an eye on the polar bears this morning.
We love to this time of the day. So cute. Taking a break. It's almost the weekend, buddy. Don't worry.
He's yawning. Yeah, he's ready for the weekend.
Yeah. I went to the zoo yesterday with my kids and was a little bummed the polar bears were not in the exhibit yesterday. So, oh well. But I get to see them every morning.
Yeah, we were saying we kind of feel like we know them because we check in on them so often.
I know. A little creepy that we spy on them so frequently. But if you're headed to the zoo today, it's a great day to head out to the zoo. There is a little bit of fog this morning, confined mainly to the Wisconsin River Valley and places that are real low. Camp Douglas has visibility at 1/4 mile. Fog's not an issue, though, elsewhere across the region. Temperatures are starting in the 50s again, 55 here in Madison, 58 in Lone Rock, 59 in Prairie du Chien. machine. Couple of spots in the 60s right now. Expect a pretty quick warm-up today. Dew points will hold steady in the mid-50s this afternoon, so that means another day that you're not going to have to worry about humidity. If you are headed to the All-City Swim Meet this weekend, thousands of kids swimming at Westside Swim Club. Looking great today, 83 with sunshine, turning a bit more humid as we go through the weekend, especially on Sunday. You'll probably feel that humidity. Saturday, there's an outside chance for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm, but a pretty small chance at that. So looking like a great forecast for this year's swim meet.
All right, opening in theaters this weekend is the latest in the Fast and Furious franchise. The spin-off film is Hobbs & Shaw, and here with the preview is our film critic, Will Loper. Good morning.
Morning, Leah. Yeah, you know, if you watched any of the other 8 Fast and Furious films and thought, I need less characters and just more muscles, you are in luck, because this movie's a shot of testosterone right to the eyeballs. Take a look.
Access granted. Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham must put their bald heads together to figure out how to defeat cybergenetically enhanced bad guy Brixton, played by Idris Elba.
Let's see if we can get him sick.
So you guys are being hunted by an army of mercenaries led by a genetically enhanced soldier.
Look at me. I'm Black Superman.
You're crazy.
Hobbs & Shaw is rated PG-13.
Okay, I'd actually go see that, but I am probably the only person in the world who's going to admit this. I really liked Tokyo Drift.
You know, that is the one of all of them that I have not seen.
You are missing out.
I guess I need to go home and watch that. Now, of course, Jason Statham turns out to be the person who kills the main character in that movie in the end, so you're a little worried about seeing this horrible man team up with The Rock?
I mean, I think he's pretty cute.
Oh, okay, well, then that makes everything okay.
That's why I'm going to go watch it, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but it is funny how it sort of evolved from realistic characters and driving to just absolute insanity and over-the-top action. But, I mean, they're saying that's what you're going to get with this movie. You'll be satisfied.
What are the reviews like?
They're mostly, I mean, they're like, you watch the trailer, you know what you're going to get.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's just not much story, all action.
You'll have a review on Monday?
I sure will.
All right, enjoy your weekend, Will.
I sure will, thank you.
See you later. Friday, plus we're Swim Club as thousands of swimmers get ready for the All-City Swim Meet. That's next on News 3 Now this morning.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for waking up with us on this Friday, August 2nd. If you take a peek outside, you're going to see a beautiful, beautiful sunrise. But Hattie is actually looking ahead to this evening, right?
Yeah, if you want to maybe stargaze on the other end of the day, the annual Perseid meteor shower is right now. It ramps up through the first couple of weeks of August, but great conditions tonight for viewing that meteor shower.
I'll have to take a peek at that myself. We will check in with Hattie in just a second on her beautiful forecast. But first, let's talk about the top 3 things you need to know as you start your Friday. First, breaking overnight into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. A fire at a 2-story dairy barn in Walworth County is contained this morning, and all of the animals are safe. 18 departments from Illinois and Wisconsin responded to the fire in the town of Sharon and had to be on scene for 7 hours. One firefighter was taken to the hospital for exhaustion, but no other injuries were reported. The second story we're following this morning, a major intersection in Whitewater is back open after a multi-vehicle crash yesterday evening. Lanes in both directions on Highway 12 at County Road N were closed for hours. A photo from a News 3 Now viewer right there shows first responders on the scene and debris spread across the road. You can also see a damaged camper. We are still waiting on more information on any injuries. And rounding out the top 3 this morning, China's government is threatening the U.S. with countermeasures if President Trump's planned tariff hike goes ahead. Yesterday, Trump said he would impose a 10% tariff starting on September 1st on the remaining $300 billion in Chinese imports that haven't already been taxed. The Commerce Ministry says that is in violation of their agreement to negotiate an end to the trade war. Those are the top 3 things you should know to start out your weekend. Hattie's keeping an eye on what we need to know traffic-wise and weather-wise. Hi, Hattie.
Hi, Leah. A little bit of activity on Lake Mendota this morning. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Sky Cam. You can see some boats out moving early this morning. A great morning to be on the lake. Visibility is really only an issue through the Wisconsin River Valley this morning. Otherwise, we're looking at clear skies. Temperatures in the 50s. 55 here in Madison, 59 in Platteville, 57 in the Dells, and 54 in Janesville. As you head out the door this morning, don't forget the sunglasses and the sunscreen. Plenty of sun in the forecast today. A pretty rapid warm up as well. Already well into the 70s by lunchtime, climbing to highs in the low to mid 80s later on today. Now here's a look at your first alert traffic maps. So far things have been pretty quiet this morning, and that trend continues right now. It is starting to get a little busier on Stoughton Road as you approach the Beltline. No major delays or slowdowns just yet. You're still going at posted speeds heading in from the surrounding communities. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Hattie. 2,000 local swimmers are coming together this weekend for the All-City Swim Meet here in Madison. It is one of the biggest outdoor meets in the country. Joining us again this morning to talk about the event is Mimi Levinson from the West Side Swim Club. Good morning, Mimi.
Good morning.
So we are talking about 4,000 different events here. What are some of the big ones?
Gosh, all the events are big. We have, you know, everything from 8 and under 25-meter freestyle, where we'll have kids as young as 5 competing, to the last event of the meet is the 15-19 boys freestyle relay, which is just crazy, crazy fast, crazy exciting. Frequently, the results of the meet come down to the results of that event. So everybody's super excited about that. We also have a really special event, which is the 25-meter freestyle for the adaptive swimmers, or the, we're calling it the unified event. And that's more like a Special Olympics type event for kids with intellectual disabilities who might not otherwise be comfortable swimming in a larger group.
All right, and we are expecting some traffic delays surrounding this event. What do you want folks to know?
So what I'd like people to know is that if you are coming on the Beltline to the meet, please don't exit at the intersection on Whitney Way. What we'd like people to do, we have actually traffic signs from the DOT that's directing meet traffic all the way down to the Gammon Road exit. Seems like it's really far, but it really only is a couple minutes out of your way. And then that way, to get your swimmers to swim or drop off, you just go ahead and approach our pool from the west. So come up Odana, then you can make an easy right turn into our swimmer drop off, and then drop your kids off, come back out onto Odana, and again, make a right turn and then proceed to wherever it is that you're going to park.
Pretty big day for lots of kiddos. Mimi, good luck with everything, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much for coming out.
Have a good one. All right, this morning's meet, by the way, starts at 8 o'clock. You can find a full schedule and maps of where you can park and which areas to avoid if you're not headed there. That's up right now on channel3000.com. Okay, 6:36 on this Friday. We have just the perfect forecast for all of those swimmers and for any of your outdoor plans as well. And if you're still looking for plans, we're going to help you out with that as well with the Weekend 608. Stay with us. News 3 Now This Morning is back after the break. Welcome back. It's that time of morning. We always ask you to share your morning with us. Jason shared his morning with us with this beautiful photo of the sunrise. He called it Sun Up. We think that sums it up pretty well. Thanks so much for sharing, Jason. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook page, maybe over on Instagram or Twitter, or email it to us, and we'll share it right here on the program because we absolutely love to start our day with you. All right, it is almost the weekend in the 608, so it's time to take a look at some upcoming events in Madison this weekend. Here's a summertime favorite, the Sugar Maple Music Festival. Musicians will be at Lake Farm Park this Saturday and Sunday, playing everything from bluegrass and folk to Creole. Headlining acts include Grammy-nominated artists like Wood and Fire. They play on Friday. The Madison Makers Summer Market will take over a stretch of East Washington Avenue starting Saturday afternoon. Some 75 arts and crafts vendors will be set up at places like Giant Jones Brewing, Old Sugar Distillery, and the High Noon Saloon. The Makers Market takes place from 1 until 5 on Saturday. And the Children's Theater of Madison putting on its rendition of Grease. Who doesn't love that? The cast is made up of local high school students as the fictional students of Rydell High School set in the 1950s. That'll really take you back. And folks are not going to want to miss the amazing Acro Cats at the Bartell Theater tomorrow night through Monday night. This is hilarious, folks. As seen on Animal Planet, the Acro Cats are a troupe of highly trained house cats who ride skateboards, jump through hoops, and most impressively, play instruments. We're not joking. The band Tuna and the Rock Cats include felines on guitar, drums, keyboards, and horns. Don't believe it? Well, then come on over to one of their performances, pun intended, at the Bartell this weekend. Lots of fun stuff, as always, going on in the 608. And we are hoping your plans will take you outside on this beautiful Friday. Take a peek outside right now. That sunshine, ooh, it's sticking around for the rest of your weekend, folks. Hattie's in with the details after the break. But first, it's August 2nd. We want to take a second to say happy birthday to Caroline and all the kids turning 3 today. Thanks so much for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Look who
Welcome back. You're taking a live look at one of my favorite places, Southwest Wisconsin. A gorgeous view outside of Platteville, not a cloud in the sky. Hattie is talking about just a gorgeous start to our weekend on this Friday morning, right, Hattie?
Yeah, the weather's been quiet all week, and that trend will continue for the most part right into the upcoming weekend. Let's talk about something at the other end of the day, though. The Perseid meteor shower is ongoing. Peak is in a couple of weeks. However, if you want to try to see some meteors, you probably could see some tonight. Peak viewing again August 9th through the 11th. That'll be when the sky is the darkest. No influence from the moon. best time to see these meteors is after midnight, although you may be able to see some during the evening hours. But after midnight until those pre-dawn hours would be the time that you'll see the most meteors. Make sure you're in a dark, open spot. And for me, hard to see the constellation Perseus, but I can look for the constellation Cassiopeia, which is like a W. Pretty easy to spot this time of the year. Just south of that constellation is where these meteors will originate. Be sure to allow your eyes enough time to adjust to the dark sky. Here's a look at weather track, and this is why we have such great conditions for viewing the meteor shower. High pressure parked itself right over the Great Lakes region, really not moving a whole lot. Moisture continues to stream across the central part of the United States, but see how these showers just really fall apart as they try to move into Minnesota and Iowa. So we stayed with a dry forecast here for today and into tonight. Moisture levels are increasing though. Those dew points have risen steadily over the last 24 hours. Now seeing some 70s on the map, upper 60s in North Platte, mid 60s in Sioux Falls. Even Minneapolis has a dew point of 62 degrees. Whereas contrast that with dew points in the 50s across Wisconsin, Michigan, and much of Illinois this morning. It'll be very comfortable today. Temperatures across the region are in the 50s here. Warmer out to the west though, 60s and 70s in place. As we zoom into southern Wisconsin, you'll see that temperatures are in the mid to upper 50s right now. 57 in the Dells, 55 in Juneau, 54 in Janesville, and 55 here in Madison. Our visibility has been an issue once again through the Wisconsin River Valley. There's where we have visibility less than a mile this morning. Once the sun gets a little higher in the sky, it should take care of that fog pretty quickly. Future Track shows you a nice quiet start to the day. Winds are very light, if not calm, because that area of high pressure is directly overhead. Temperatures warm quickly by lunchtime today. Hope you have a chance to maybe take lunch outside. Upper 70s for temperatures at noon. Climbing into the low to mid 80s today. Should be a great day for any outdoor activity across the region. For this evening, staying pretty quiet and calm at 7 o'clock. Temperatures will still be in the low 80s, but we will bottom out in the low 60s overnight. Here's a look at that extended forecast. Mid 80s for highs on Saturday and Sunday. Still have just a slight chance for a shower or thunderstorm Saturday afternoon or evening. Otherwise dry, but turning a little bit more humid Sunday into Monday. Temperatures next week, though, look very nice. Here's a look at our pet walk forecast. Aww. Lola and Janesville all snuggled up. I don't know if you need so many blankets, but Lola looks pretty happy.
Boy, Lola, I have to say I'm generally in agreement with any sort of napping photo, but today you gotta get outside.
Seize the day, right?
This afternoon.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is back after this.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, new details in the death of Robert F. Kennedy's granddaughter. We're at the Kennedy compound as the family mourns the loss of the 22-year-old. Plus, cracking down on robocalls, the FCC's new effort to keep your numbers safe from scammers. We'll see you at 7.
It's 6:51, time for the morning sprint as our team gets your day started with the most local news. We start with the first alert traffic note out of Whitewater this morning. That's where a major intersection outside that city is back open after a multi-vehicle crash yesterday evening. Lanes in both directions on Highway 12 at County Road N were closed for hours. A photo from a News 3 Now viewer shows first responders on the scene and debris spread across the road. There is no word yet this morning on any injuries. We will learn later today whether Quintez Cephas will take the stand in the sexual assault case against him. Yesterday, his former roommate and fellow Badger football player Danny Davis testified in court. Davis says the two accusers were coherent and walking fine on their own the night of the alleged incident. He said he had a conversation with one of the women who told him she regretted having sex with Cephas and was worried about what people would think. Lawmakers here in Wisconsin want health classes to teach students how to prevent teen dating violence. Representative Melissa Sargent is behind a bipartisan measure that would require the state to make a policy on the topic. Schools would be required to use the state's model or to create their own. Representative Sargent says there has been some opposition to the idea of teaching young people about relationships. A Wisconsin father will be in court today facing child neglect charges. Police say a 2-year-old boy was left in a car for 10 hours this weekend in Schofield until his mom found him in that car around noon. 22-year-old Zachary Joaquin says it was all an accident. The toddler is back home after being rushed to the hospital and treated for extreme exhaustion. A fire at a 2-story dairy barn up in Walworth County is contained this morning, and all of the animals are safe. 18 departments from Illinois and Wisconsin responded to that fire in the town of Sharon and were on scene for 7 hours. One firefighter had to be taken to the hospital for exhaustion, but no other injuries were reported. Back in Madison, a new report says F-35 jets coming to Truex Field could cause a major uptick in noise. The U.S. Air Force released a draft report identifying some of the potential impacts of bringing those jets to the city. The noise would spread over an extra 1,300 acres, affecting more than 2,000 more people. Republican state lawmakers are suing the Democratic Attorney General this morning, saying he is not complying with so-called lame duck laws. It's the first lawsuit related to the lame duck session filed by Republicans. Democrats, meanwhile, have filed 4 others against that session.
And we're starting with just a little bit of fog this morning. Through the Wisconsin River Valley, visibility is less than a mile. Fog not a widespread issue, though, for southern Wisconsin. Sunshine already this morning will help temperatures warm quickly. We're looking at highs in the low to mid 80s, right around 83 degrees later on this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Hattie. China's government is threatening the U.S. this morning with countermeasures if President Trump's planned tariff hike goes ahead. Yesterday, the president said he would impose a 10% tariff starting September 1st on the remaining $300 billion in Chinese imports that haven't already been taxed. The Commerce Ministry says that is in violation of their agreement to negotiate an end to the trade war. Meanwhile, President Trump says he has no problem with a new series of launches by North Korea since they are short-range missiles. U.S. officials say they appear similar to 2 previous missile launches into the Sea of Japan in just over a week. Later today, Puerto Rico's governor will step down, but residents still have no idea who will replace him. Ricardo Rossello will resign at 5 p.m. local time in response to huge street protests by Puerto Ricans. The government will vote on whether politician Pedro Pierre Lucy will fill the vacancy just this afternoon. If he's rejected, Justice Secretary Wanda Vasquez will take the position instead. Saoirse Kennedy Hill, the granddaughter of Robert F. Kennedy, has died. Paramedics were seen at the family's compound in Hyannisport, Massachusetts on Thursday afternoon. In a statement, her family says she was passionate about human rights and women's empowerment. Kennedy Hill was just 22 years old. The Brewers are heading to Wrigley today to play the Cubs, coming off of yesterday's loss to Oakland. For a long time, Brewers reliever Josh Hader was unhittable, but lately Hader has been very hittable. The Crew was leading 3-2 in the 8th, but Hader gave up another homer to Matt Chapman, which turned the game around for the A's. The Brewers lose 5-3. First pitch today is at Wrigley at 1:20. And tonight, you can see the Packers play at Lambeau for the first time this season for their annual family practice night. Gates open at 5:30. Practice starts at 7:30. There are still a few tickets available at $10 a piece online at Ticketmaster. All right, 6:56 now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your Friday First Alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Starting to pick up now on the westbound Beltline between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. It's going to add an extra minute to your drive time. No big delays on inbound John Olin quite yet, but just plan on a few brake lights near Rimrock and Olin Avenue as you head your way into downtown. Other main routes leading into the Madison area, they're cruising along at the usual speeds right now with no major crashes or issues. Your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh. Have a great weekend.
And here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam. Some boats already on Lake Mendota this morning. It's going to be a gorgeous day. Temperatures are in the 50s this morning, but a pretty fast warm-up is expected. Take a look at your day planner temperatures. Already 73 by 10. We're headed to a high of 83 degrees with plenty of sunshine later on this afternoon. And if you're looking ahead to that weekend forecast, we still have highs in the mid-80s both Saturday and Sunday. Just an outside chance for a shower or thunderstorm Saturday afternoon or evening, but the rest of the weekend looks dry. It is going to turn a little bit more humid around here. I think you'll especially start to notice that on Sunday.
Boy, Josh picked a good weekend to go camping.
He certainly did.
Thank you very much, Hattie, and thanks so much for joining us. Good luck to all you swimmers out there here in Madison. We will see you back here Monday morning.